If you're buying a home in Florida, there's a number most buyers underestimate, and it can run from $10,000 to $20,000 on a typical purchase. It's your closing cost. Buyers moving here from other states get blindsided because Florida has taxes and rules that don't exist almost anywhere else. In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly what you'll pay, what's negotiable, who pays for what in Florida, and the one mistake that can cost you your entire down payment in an instant. I'm Ryan Solberg with MaxLife Realty, and I walk buyers through the full financial picture before they ever make an offer. Here's the headline number. Buyer closing costs in Florida typically run 2 to 4% of the purchase price on a $500,000 home. That's roughly $10,000 to $20,000 on top of your down payment. That's real cash you need at the closing table, and knowing it before you start shopping is what keeps you from a nasty surprise 3 days before you close. Let's break it down into the categories you'll actually see on your statement. First, lender fees. Origination, underwriting, the appraisal, your credit report. Those vary the most from lender to lender, which is exactly why you compare. Second, Florida's state taxes, which the buyer pays. Third, title and settlement fees. Fourth, your prepaid items, homeowners insurance, property tax escrow, and prepaid interest. And finally, in many Central Florida master plan communities, possible community development district charges, 5 buckets. Let's look at the numbers in each. Here are the line items side by side, using a $400,000 mortgage as the example. Lender origination runs 0 to 1%, up to $4,000. Underwriting, $500 to $1,500. The appraisal, $500 to $800 for a standard single-family home. Then Florida's taxes. The documentary stamp on your mortgage is 0.35% of the loan, $1,400. The intangible tax is 0.20%, another $800. The lender's title insurance runs $800 to $2,000. Title search, $200 to $400. And recording fees, $50 to $200. Now, for the part that surprises everyone relocating here. In most of Central Florida, Orange, Seminole, Osceola, Lake, and Brevard counties, it is customary for the seller to pay for the owner's title insurance policy. That's the opposite of most states, where the buyer pays. So that's a meaningful cost that traditionally transfers to the seller in this market. But be careful, this is a convention, not a law. In some Florida counties, like Miami-Dade and Broward, the buyer typically pays, and in any deal, it can be negotiated. You'll still pay for the lender's title policy yourself either way. So, what does this actually total? Here's a realistic estimate by price range, all assuming 20% down. On a $350,000 home, expect $7,500 to $12,000. On $500,000, $10,000 to $18,000. On $700,000, $14,000 to $24,000. And on a $1 million purchase, $20,000 to $35,000. The lower end is for cash purchases or strong seller concessions. The upper end reflects higher insurance, larger escrow requirements, and more complex properties. Here's how you actually reduce these costs. First, ask for seller concessions. In 2026 more balanced market, requesting 2 to 3% toward your closing costs is increasingly achievable, especially on homes that have sat 30 days or more. On a $500,000 home, a 2.5% concession covers $12,500, often enough to wipe out most of your out-of-pocket costs. Second, compare lenders. The variance on fees can be $2,000 to $5,000. And third, time your closing near the end of the month to minimize prepaid interest. Closing on the 29th instead of the 1st can save you several hundred to $1,500. Now, the mistake that can cost you everything, and it has nothing to do with fees. Florida real estate wire fraud is a serious active threat. Criminals hack email threads, then send you a message that looks like it's from the title company with new wire instructions. You wire your down payment and closing costs to a thief, and that money is often gone for good. The rule is simple: never wire funds based on instructions in an email. Always call the title company directly using a number from their official website to confirm before you send a dollar. Legitimate title companies never change wire instructions at the last minute. If you get an email that does, assume it's fraud. So here's the takeaway. Budget 2 to 4% of the purchase price for closing costs. Know that Florida charges doc stamp and intangible taxes that buyers pay. Remember that the seller customarily covers the owner's title policy in Central Florida, and protect your wire transfer like your life depends on it. Understanding your total cash to close before you start shopping is what prevents surprises at the closing table. The full guide is at maxliferealty.com/blog/closing costs Florida buyer guide. And if you want me to walk you through your numbers before you make an offer, call or text me at 321-373-3536.